you are someone who has recently left your employer, or maybe even you're someone who's recently been let go from your employer and you're thinking about what to do with your old 401k that's stuck there. If this describes you, today I'm going to give you 5 simple, jargon-free, clear things that you might be able to do with your 401k if this describes you. Before then, I have to give you the disclosure, of course, that this is not financial advice and these do not serve as recommendations. So I'd say speak with your financial advisor. You can reach out to me at the end of the video, or you can find a tax or legal professional to help you out as well if you are someone who's interested in learning more about your options here. So with that said, let's jump right into things. The first thing you can do is just leave it at your former employer. Now, this potentially could be the easiest option because it requires doing nothing, right? We do have clients from time to time that even forget that they had a 401k at this employer, and we have to call them up and see what our options are. I'm also going to include a link here that's going to allow you to look up old 401ks or old assets that you might have that you may have even forgotten about, and maybe I just made your day, but that's going to be your first option, is just leaving it there. We don't see a lot of folks do that simply because if person's leaving their employer, they may have had a problem with them and it just doesn't sit right with them. But for the most part, your 401k is still going to be fine there. They're not going to turn it into a day trading investment account where they're just going to try to ruin your life through it. And of course, there's going to be a lot of protections in place still in terms of it will have strong protection from creditors. So if you go into bankruptcy or other creditor issues, it would still be protected there. But just know that that's your first option. So your second option is going to be roll it to the new employer. So it's going to have a lot of the similar abilities with that 401k. You're still going to be able to contribute to it. You're still going to be able to do all the same things with it in terms of investments as well. That is one thing that I want to talk about with 401ks, is you don't have the flexibility of an IRA when we're talking about investment options. So with the 401k, you just have the option of a mutual fund, or of course you can use annuities, which are life insurance products. And mutual funds, while we won't get into it in this video, are a little less flexible than what we call ETFs, exchange traded funds. I'm sure there's great videos on YouTube that explain the difference between those two, but you can also invest in single stocks, you can invest in alternatives. There's much more things you can invest in over in your individual retirement account, your IRA, if we compare it to the 401k. So let's get into that in the third option. Third option is to roll your old 401k into your IRA. Right? So I essentially just moved a company account over to my individual account. Sometimes people already have IRAs, and in this case, yes, you can just roll it directly into that account that's already open. But the difference with your IRA is that's going to be an individual account, where the 401k is going to be a company account. As I mentioned, the IRA is going to be a little bit more flexible in your investment options. And when we talk about what you can do, a lot of times people think that I have to choose one or the other, right? But if you meet certain income requirements, you can actually contribute both to your 401k and to your IRA and take the full benefit of that tax deduction today, again, if you meet those income requirements. So other things that I talk about when we talk about an IRA is there's a little bit more optionality in terms of when I arrive there. Right, so with my 401k, really all I can do is contribute to it. Hopefully I have an employer match, which would be always an important consideration if I'm choosing to invest in a 401k. But when I talk about my IRA, there's no limit to what I can roll over, right? So there's always going to be a contribution limit in terms of what my IRA allows me to contribute on an annual basis, but I can convert a $500,000 401k into my IRA if I wanted to. So that's one of the main benefits, is the flexibility. As I mentioned, there's other doors that you can open from here. With that being said, that kind of leads us to number 4, which is you can roll it into a Roth IRA, and you wouldn't be able to directly roll that into the Roth IRA. If you're familiar with how a Roth conversion works, you have to put money into that IRA first, and then it is considered pre-tax. And then from there you say, okay, I want to put this into a Roth IRA. And the IRS essentially says, well, that's great, but that is now considered income, and you're going to have to pay present day income taxes in order to do so. And you're saying, Jordan, why in the world would I want to pay the government a large tax bill today if I'm not even going to use this asset for 20 years? Well, there are several benefits with a Roth IRA when we compare it to an IRA, and I'll leave that for another video, but just know that the fourth option is going to be that Roth IRA. Now, your fifth option, of course, is going to be able to just cash it out. And I know that there's a lot of financial hardship out there, and there's a lot of things that leave people with few and limited options, but this is a very dangerous option for a lot of folks out there, mostly because of the penalties that come with it. Unless you are 59 and a half or older, you do not have access to those funds without getting hit with a 10% penalty on top of the ordinary income tax rates that come with this 401k. So all that to say, if you do want to pull your money out of your 401k early, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get it out unless you meet certain exceptions such as age, or if you have certain disabilities or needs that are met. These are things that you're going to have to consider before doing so. So that's really it. I promised to keep it brief, and I hope I fulfilled that promise. Just know whenever we're talking about what to do with an old 401k is you do need to consider your timeline and when these dollars are needed to be spent, right? So if I'm thinking about if I choose to do it into an IRA, or if I choose to do my new employer's 401k, deciding what timeline makes sense for me along with an advisor, one of the professionals I mentioned earlier, might make the most sense here. If you would like to reach out to me for more of my thoughts on this, and I could maybe talk to you about your specific situation, feel free to reach out to me on my email address added here. But other than that, I will let you go. I appreciate your viewership. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day.